Hey, it's Central Valley Business. I'm your host, Steve Walling. My guest for this segment, a young man who is an entrepreneur, stepped out to take on the world of web design. Vikaas, Shanker, I want to thank you being with us on the show, and it's ValleyForce Web Design. Did I get that right?
ValleyForce Communications.
ValleyForce Communication.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably better than web design, but that's what you do. So, all right. Before we went on air, you told me that you had been in the news collection industry as a reporter, and you decided to move into web design. How did that happen? I mean, what's the genesis of that? How did it unfold?
Yeah. So basically, I've been a news reporter for the last 7 years, professional news reporter out of college. I actually grew up in Illinois, so I was working for a couple papers down there. My parents in Illinois actually moved to Clovis, and after they retired, and so then I visited them once, loved the state, was like, okay, well, maybe I'll come down here sometime. And a couple months later, was searching for a new place to work, and then I came over here and I started working for the Merced Sun-Star newspaper, and then as a full-time news reporter. I've been there for the past 4 years, and then in January I just left because I kind of wanted to start my own career, and one of my passions was content creation. So that includes video, articles, and all that stuff, as well as web design. So that's something that I've always been interested in. So that might as well make a business out of it. And so far I think I've been doing pretty well. It's only been a couple of months, but I'm kind of right now on the stage of just getting my name out there.
You couldn't have picked a more interesting time. It's challenging enough for an entrepreneur to open up, but in times like now, the chaos and stuff, it's got to be pretty intense. However, as a news reporter in the area, you probably have a fair amount of contacts that you've been associated with that you can tap into. You mentioned that before we went on camera that you're working with one of the mayoral candidates in his or her and we won't clarify that any more than that, but in their journey to seek election there, that's got to be a pretty good get for a new communications web design business.
Yeah, I mean, really, my work for the political campaign here in Merced is, I'm friends with him, but we actually met because I interviewed him, when I was a reporter. So as you said, that's a pretty great, base to start out with. I'm also, one of my other clients is a local attorney here, and so, for example, the type of service that I provide him is, possibly, building a website. And then also on top of that, content marketing. And for people who may not know what that is, that's content marketing is kind of creating content, distributing it for free online.
Using
through
social media.
Yeah.
Having an online presence, if you're not updating content on an ongoing basis, it might be good for the first week or two, but you begin to fall back, people lose interest, the same thing they saw there. It'd be like if the evening news had the same news every day. You watch it the first time, great. A week or two later, you don't even want to pay attention to it. But so you actually are involved in a whole lot more than just web design, content management and production, communications. But let's go back. I want to roll back to web design. In today's market, how is the personal web page, how does that position, because there's so much social media, and you also hit a lot of that too in what you do for your clients, but in just the web page design, how is that holding up today for business people?
Yeah, so it's becoming even more important because, in today's age, people say, they hear of a company's name or something like that. They hear some type of business, and this business is trying to reach out to them. People search online. The majority of people, there's research out there that shows the majority of people actually look at to see what if a business has a web page, or if they have social media pages and accounts and business accounts, to bring it some legitimacy before they even do business with them.
Right.
So it's becoming even more important. But I think the website is just one component of what a business needs to do in today's age online. You need to be getting out there on social media. That's where everyone is. That's where you can reach so many people. And the return on your investment is going to be so high.
Vikaas, you're right now. I know you can see me in a lot of gray hair that I have. I have a 10-year-old grandson. He's my tech guy, and so he's told me that, that Facebook page that I depended on for so much. He says, Grandpa, that's kind of passé. It's not that it's not necessary, but in the social media environment, well, in the online environment, period. A web page kind of today is your foundation. Facebook may or may not be necessary anymore with all the other stuff, but there's a whole universe of other social media stuff out there that if you're a young, and I'm not talking necessarily in age, but as a business, and if you're a young business and you want to get your presence out there, you need to tap into these various forms of social media. And like we said in the opening of the segment, you need to have content that is uploading on a very consistent basis. Now, you can correct me because I'm probably not real good on this, but for someone searching, you said people search online, there are certain factors that make content or something pop to the top of the page. And back in the day, I understood that if you got below the first page, maybe the top of the second page, but beyond that, people aren't going to look for you. Is that still pretty much the same?
Yeah, it's changed. The way that is still the way it happens. But the algorithms that Google uses and the Facebook uses to get to the top of a feed, that's constantly changing. And so one of my jobs, as a content creator, content marketer, is to keep up on all that. And then also, it really depends in terms of which social media platform a business should be on or should kind of focus on. Say if you're an artist, you create some type of art, your music, that type of thing. You're going to want to be on TikTok. You're going to want to be on Instagram. Now, if you're kind of a B2B business and you're kind of targeting executives and other businesses, then you're going to want to push your content on LinkedIn, like full scale. Mm-hmm. So yeah, and that's also, as I've been starting this up and kind of doing my own research, and then also talking to businesses in the area. That's what I've kind of found out is that it's the great thing about all of these social media out there is that you can pick and choose which one plays to your strengths. So and that's kind of one of the things that I hope that I can help out my clients with. And even if they don't retain my services, this is part of content marketing too. Is like the key is to provide people value online when you're doing content marketing. And I think that's probably if I were to give any type of advice to any type of business out there, is like make sure that anything you put out online brings people value. Yeah. And when the brings them value, even if you're not getting, quote unquote, paid for it, you put it out there, you give them value, you ask, or you give, and then, when you ask, then people are much more likely to, hire you or buy your product or your service.
That'd probably be a good reason to have someone like you in my toolbox, wouldn't it?
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
And it changes. It used to be companies could have an in-house tech person that was probably an employee that did other stuff and just, caught stuff up online, an hour here, an hour there. But you're right. There's so much stuff out there, and it's not a one-size-fits-all. You got to know what part of the niche you want to be in, and you need to have someone, again, like I said, that it's important to have that updating content on an ongoing basis. And as a business person, I don't want to waste my time on that. but I'm willing to hire you because it's not time wasted because you're the expert. You know, it's like going into the courtroom, you know, with a kid that's a comic book artist and making him my attorney. Not going to, you know, I want someone that knows the law. I want someone in this case that knows the marketing world, the online marketing world, and creating that web page, and then taking my brand and putting it in the parts of the market where it's going to reach the people I want to reach, and then constantly making it fresh to those people. That keeps them coming back. You know, if I'm giving something on an ongoing basis, whether it's a piece of advice or whatever, you know, people want to come back. Or, you know, if I'm providing a service of some kind that they can utilize, they're going to want to come back. Name recognition, brand recognition,
Yep.
and that's what you do, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. And one of the things is there's a lot of, you know, small businesses, right? Like you start up your own business and you want to build your social media presence, but one, you neither have the time, and two, you don't have the money to hire someone. So, you know, that's why it's so important to, I provide that service where I can go to a small business and say, hey, you know, you don't have the time to do this. You don't have the money to hire someone yourself to do this. Hire me, and I'll do all that stuff for you. You know, you're not going to have to, you know, lift a finger. You know, and it requires constant communication. You know, let's say like, you know, if someone hires me, I'm going to be communicating with you and be like, okay, well, you know, what is the goal of your business? What type of message you want to put out there? And then that way you don't need to worry about it. And you can, but then, you know, the other thing is, like, you know, people who still wish to educate themselves about it and try and do it themselves, if they feel like they do have the time to do that, then, you know, I want to help them too. I don't, you know, my whole thing is I want to provide value, you know, and a lot of small businesses out here, you know, in Merced or the Central Valley or Fresno, you know, a lot of times they're not tech savvy, yeah. Right? So we have to constantly find links, you know, between, you know, to get those businesses to take advantage of all the opportunities online and on social media.
Okay, but I'm going to stop you right there. You put out a lot of good information. We've talked about a lot of stuff. If I was someone watching this, I'd get all excited, but I need to know how to find you.
Yeah.
All right? Yeah. How do I find you?
Yeah, okay, so you can go to ValleyForceCommunications.com.
Okay.
Right. My phone number is 209-325-8245. And so you can give me a call. You can also email me at ValleyForce@shankermedia.com. That's ValleyForce at SHANKER media.com.
Okay.
And so you give me a call, you send me an email, I'll get back to you same day, you know, within 24 hours, as soon as I can, pretty much. And you know, my whole thing is, first I want to have a discussion with you. I want to talk with you about what it is that your business needs, especially in you know, in this time, you know, when businesses aren't sure what they need, right?
Yeah.
Aren't sure what they need to do. And so, you know, I want to try and help you figure that out. And it might lead to you hiring me. It might lead to you not hiring me. But I want to kind of help you figure it out as well.
There you go. Sounds like a great service you're providing there.
Yeah.
Come on back. We'll talk more about, you know, how after the, you know, everything unfolds and opens up, there's going to be a lot of opportunities out there for a lot of people. They're going to need a good web page presence. You may just be the guy. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you, Mike.
We'll see you next time, all right?
All right.
And I'll see you when we come back.